I was just laid off. This is actually the first time I've ever been laid off.
Your job just fired me.
Say bye to your health insurance.
I just got laid off. Today is April 8th, 2025.
I just got laid off. This is my second layoff.
So we just got so much to talk about the job market. Are we going into a recession? Are we going to see millions of more jobs? And I didn't have to search very much at all to find tons of videos of people sharing their stories of being laid off in this economy. It's getting bad out there. It's getting really bad. Let's get into it.
No idea that was coming. No exaggeration. I literally had no idea. I thought it was a normal meeting and I was going to give my boss a book recommendation. And then he decided to say, we're not moving forward with you for employment. What? My stutter gets really bad when I'm worked up. I'm upset, I'm angry, I'm disappointed, I'm hurt, I'm confused. Here's the thing about getting laid off in America or getting your job taken from you, like in any moment, right? Not only is your like security of that main source of income just completely stripped from you, say bye to your health insurance. Say bye to your dental. You know what's so funny to me as well is when we leave a job, we are courteous enough to and almost forced to believe that we have to do the 2 weeks, right? The 2 weeks notice. Let me give them 2 weeks notice. Let me do that. But these employers are able to be like, no, this is actually your last minute on the job. And as soon as you hang up this Zoom call that you thought was just going to be like a friendly little meeting, but we're actually like taking away your job, we're going to lock you out of your email. We're going to lock you out of all of your accounts. So those abandonment issues you have, trigger. You can't say goodbye to your coworkers, trigger. This wasn't my dream job by any means, any way, shape, or form, to be honest with you. It was honestly, it didn't align at all. But in this economy, when I'm in like a very transitional phase of life right now. So that was at least like a pillar of stability that was had. Oh my God.
So she nailed pretty much every point that I was going to say. Health insurance, dental, we pretty much are slaves to our insurance. We have to have health insurance for our family. We have to have dental, and we have to have some type of security in where are we going to eat tomorrow, what are we going to do, what's our identity. And I think a lot of this generation or this society right now is going through a identity crisis. Like, I'm no longer working at this place I poured my heart and soul in. What do you think? Comments down below. We learn from the comments. Everybody could be going through the same situation, so comments down below.
I was just laid off. This is actually the first time I've ever been laid off, so I don't really know what to even do or how to process anything. I just dropped off my laptop. It sucks the most because I seriously was only at this company for 2 months. I literally got this job in October and loved every single second of it. Unfortunately, the company was acquired and a lot of us were let go. Nothing you can do about it, but it definitely sucks. I have no idea what I want to do. I don't know if I want to even keep working for a company or what. I got my real estate license back in early October. I'm like, maybe I should just pursue that. But I also really...
Recession, job losses, acquisitions, businesses being transitioned. She pretty much nailed the ones that we're going to see. A recession means 1 million, 2 million job losses. A depression, we don't want to talk about that. So we're really starting to see people lose their jobs from businesses just laying off, trimming. It's their excuse to trim. And in a lot of these situations, remember in 2008, 2009, 11, 12, 13, 14, big corporations use that as a chance to get rid of the high-level employees, to trim the fat, the old-timers. And they realize that they can do a lot of these jobs for half the price with a younger person, and they transitioned the business, and they just blamed it on the recession, the housing crisis, the downturn, and that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing a lot of these layoffs just because they're able to, and then they're going to transition into AI and those type of environments. And all these new factories that are going to be coming back to the United States, if that's what happens, it's going to be AI driven. They're going to be new factories. They're going to be high-tech factories. Everything to do from lawyers to machinists to welders to warehouse workers, they're all, if they can be automated, it's going to happen. We're going into a new work sector to where if they can replace you, they're going to. And that's sad.
My job just fired me. I went in today all nicely dressed like I am. And, they sat me down and told me they were letting me go. After 6 years at this company, I am no longer there. And you know what? I'm not even upset. Is that bad? Is that bad not to feel upset about the situation? Like, I've been getting questions from family and they're like, how do you feel? And my response to them has literally been, I feel free. The reason, before y'all even get, to thinking that it was because of something that I posted on here, it was not. It was because of budget cuts. And not only was I let go, but others were too. So yeah, that was still surprising to me. I mean, I immediately asked in my, exit, just want to make sure that this is not about performance. And they clarified, this is not about your performance. This is solely based on, us not getting the grants and these things that we thought we were getting and us having to cut back. And so I had to write it all down as they were talking because I had to make sure.
She's going to do great in something else, though. She's got a great personality. You can tell she's very smart. This is going to be a transition time for her to go and do something she wanted to do. I know in my first career, I was ready to go out the door and I knew this was not for me. And that transition time was something that opened up the whole world to me. All this that I do here on the internet, on YouTube, I did because I knew I was unhappy in the first job and I went out and sought a way to do what I wanted to do.
Guess who has 2 thumbs and just got laid off? Me. I just got laid off. Today is April 8th, 2025. I actually got laid off yesterday. I got pulled into the office by my oversight, and she essentially told me, we're dropping all of your portfolio. We're no longer working with them, and they'll have to go with a different company, and your role has been affected. So there's that. And if I'm entirely honest, I knew that this job was never like a long-term situation for me. So I'm not really bothered by the fact that I'm not going to be working there anymore. I just feel like the timing is kind of tough for me because I'm financially in a relatively shitty position. And I feel more so bad for the more senior staff that's also been affected by the restructuring of the company. In any case, seeing somebody who's, well into their senior years get laid off and be in a vulnerable position and have to figure out what they're going to do for their livelihood and their family is one of the most humbling, heartbreaking things that I could ever imagine, especially when you've given well over, 2 decades to a company and to an organization. And it's like, ultimately, the only way to leave a job is to die, quit, get fired, or get laid off. So it's like, of all those things, being laid off isn't exactly the worst. You know what I mean? It's not maybe the best because maybe it's best to quit, but being laid off is not exactly terrible. And in any case, I had already been applying for jobs just because I knew the nature of this particular situation was not optimal for me. It just wasn't. So now I am reevaluating life because I really don't like the standard 9-to-5 culture. I don't like going into an office Monday through Friday. I don't like being in a setting and I'm not able to be mobile and I have to just be so constricted and tied down to these specific things. I'm not a fan of that. I do like the idea of working with a team that's collaborative, that I'm able to kind of bounce ideas off of and learn from and, contribute my ideas and my creativity and my strategy to things. It sounds like I'm trying to interview, but I'm not. I'm just being honest. Like, this is the type of space I like to be in. I do enjoy those things, but it's like, I don't feel like we need to be in a traditional office setting to do that. I think that there's a lot of benefit to having a remote aspect to what you do and a freedom to what you do. And for me, as a Black American woman, African-American woman, I should say, as an African.
What do you think about politics in the workforce? Do you believe that a certain type of person progresses faster than the other? I've heard a lot about, the male versus female, and especially in certain corporate environments, that one progresses faster than the other. I've never worked in that type of environment. I can't say it. I've always been either a trigger puller or an entrepreneur. And in that sense, you know, as an entrepreneur, you make your own way. You eat what you kill. You only do what you produce. What do you have to say about what she's saying? Seems like a very interesting topic.
Last night at like 10 o'clock, I got a calendar invite from the COO of my company with just me, the CEO, and him copied on it. So a 3-person meeting. I have no idea what this is about. My first suspicion is that I'm getting fired. I don't know, but I haven't had any warnings before about my performance or anything, so.
There is no way you would get Jack Motley into one of these video conference calls and Jack Motley ain't flipping the table, okay? If I knew it was coming, we're gonna have fun with it. I'm gonna be like Jerry Maguire. Who's coming with me? Who's coming with me?
Or anything, so it's just really odd to get a calendar invite out of the blue from the CEO and COO. For the following morning. I'm about to join this Zoom meeting and I'm gonna film joining, and it's only 15 minutes long. Hello.
Hey Grace.
Hi, how are you guys? Gotcha. Well, honestly, I really enjoyed my time working with you guys. You all have been awesome to work with, I think, the past 9 months. Yeah, just overall really grateful for this experience and wish you guys the best. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Guess I'm a full-time influencer now. So last night.
So terrible. But this is going to open up a lot of opportunities for her. She's got 221,000 likes on this video. Start your YouTube channel. Go and have fun as an entrepreneur. Not everybody can do that though. But there's no way I could sit there and take that. None. Nope, no way. I'd have cussed them out and I got my money's worth. Because there's no way.
I just got laid off. This is my second layoff. This message is not for you to feel bad for me. This message is not for you to do anything for me. This message is to get to someone that needs to hear this because it's going through the same thing I'm going through. I was going through TikTok and I was scrolling. I kept seeing layoffs everywhere. And I thought it was not going to happen to me. I thought I was safe. I was told yesterday that my last day is going to be next Tuesday. That gives me less than 3 business days to come up with a plan. Thank goodness I have a few side hustles that I started last year, and that's gonna keep me afloat. But when someone depends on you to pay for the mortgage, that is nerve-wracking because you have to hustle and you have to make it happen. Losing your house is not an option. And it's really sad that for these companies, we are so disposable. Please do not wait to start a side hustle while you have a job so you have an extra income stream before something like this can happen to you. Any of us can go through this. Even if you think you're safe, start a side hustle. Do not put all of your eggs in one basket. It's really scary to go through this situation. We're gonna get through it. This had to happen because we deserve better. We were not gonna get out of there on our own. This had to happen so we can move on onto the better and bigger things that are waiting for us. This message is actually a positive.
That's why I keep preaching. Emergency fund, paid off debt, paid off house. Give yourself a position to where when this happens, it's your springboard. It's not your handcuffs, it's your springboard to go and do that one thing you wanted to do because you're not tied down to that job you hated because you don't have money to survive for the next month, 2 months, 3 months. The emergency fund, the paid off debt, no credit card bills. If you had to take your expenses to zero, you could, and then just work on your dream. That is what we're talking about here. That's what we're talking about here.
This message is actually a positive message about layoffs.
So I got laid off on Thursday. Today's Monday, and I have a lot of thoughts, so let's talk about it. For reference, I'm 28 years old. I've been working in corporate America for, 8 years. I graduated college in 2018, and this is my second, technically third time getting laid off if you include a furlough from COVID. I was not expecting it at all. I was pretty blindsided, But I am super, super thankful for this layoff versus my last one. And let me explain to you why. The last time I got laid off, I was 24 years old and I had just purchased my condo. So my first piece of property, the only piece of property I own. I used most of my savings to purchase it. It's truly my biggest accomplishment. And 2 months later, I had no employment. I vowed to myself from that moment on, I would never let myself feel so scared and so helpless ever again, because I truly wasn't sure what I was going to do. Like, I was like, I think I'm going to be on food stamps. And my parents, just for a backstory, like, I had no assistance getting my house. My parents sent me dish towels as a thank you present. Like, I 100% did this on my own. So it was 100% my responsibility to figure out what I'm going to do. With that being said, I then met my now fiance a year and a half later, and I live in his house and we rent out my property still. So we do make a little bit of rental income. I also teach Pilates and I own my own Pilates grip socks business. And I have done this weekend what is called redistributing my calories, now knowing one of my sources of income will be diminished. So I guess my biggest piece of advice here for women, because that's who I'm really talking to, but truly anyone, is do not put all of your eggs in one basket. I don't care if you have the best corporate job in the world. I don't care if you think you have the job security. I used to tell people that this was the job I was retiring to, and I absolutely got blindsided by this. But I do not have to worry about how I'm going to put food on the table or what I'm going to do when I wake up tomorrow, because I have 2 other sources of income, 3 if you count my rental, 3 other sources of income, but 2 other businesses, teaching Pilates and owning my Pilates sub company, that I can now put more of my calories in and redistribute while looking for more full-time work.
That's a great way to look at it. She's got the right idea. Multiple streams of income, options, plan B, C, D, E, F, G, rental income. She's still hedging herself from inflation with owning a piece of property. Just so many things she's got going on there. And that's the right idea. That's the right idea. You know, everything I've been saying in all these videos, be prepared. Have plan B, C, D, E, F, G.
My entire branch is closing. The entire staff has been terminated. Our effective day of termination is February 1st. The office is closing January 31st. HR will meet with all of us individually next week to let us know our options. Some of my coworkers have been offered severance, and yeah, sad. So now we will be working for the next 3 weeks to close out all of our patients, transfer them to new facilities and new offices, new agencies. And yeah, I'm gonna miss my work family. We have built really good relationships over the last 18 months. I've been at this job for 18 months. And you know, since COVID, it's been really, really hard to get a lot of like hospice patients, keep a lot of hospice patients, because so many people passed away during COVID. So a lot of those people who are like, were in their like 60s and 70s have already passed. So it's like, this is around the time where they would like go into hospice care, you know.
It's so hard to know it's coming. To know it's coming, and you're just still waiting for it to happen. I don't know. I'd have to help them out. I'd be out of there. But you don't want to not get the benefits that are coming to you. The severance pay, the package, whatever it is they have to do to legally let you go. Don't be like me and be compulsive. Make sure you do it right. Have your checklist. Prepare yourself. Start cleaning out your desk. Start prepping your email box. Start transferring anything you need to help you on the way forward. Get some letters of recommendation if possible. Build the resume. Get everything you can from that employer before you leave. Don't be compulsive. Don't be emotional. Sometimes I can be emotional.
Yeah, I'm not good. But 2 months ago, I left a relatively stable job at a very large software company to take a chance, as I have done at other times in my past, take a chance on a smaller e-commerce company. A former colleague of mine worked there. He said, hey, it's a good opportunity. There's some exciting stuff going on here. We can really make a difference. You'll get back into pre-sales. You'll get paid more. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. Why not? I figure this will last maybe 6 months, maybe a year, and then I can land on my feet somewhere else if it doesn't work out. Or if it does work out, it'll be great. 30 days, exactly 30 days after I joined, the company had a 20% reduction in force, which included me. So now, 1 month later, I am in the midst of what has to be one of the worst, if not the worst, tech job market that I've ever experienced in my lifetime. All of the horror stories you hear about ghosting and ghost jobs and super long interview processes and all the stuff, it's all true. I've lived it. And I've been doing all the right things, right? I'm not just applying directly on the website. I'm getting referrals, right? I'm getting inroads. I'm reaching out to hiring managers. I'm doing all the right things. And my professional network, by the way, has been fantastic. They have really come through this time. But even that's not helping. I've been rejected from jobs where I was highly referred by somebody even before I could interview with the HR person. Like, I've already been rejected from 3 jobs after a full interview process. And I have a couple of others in the pipeline right now, but for the first time in my life, I'm really wondering if I'm going to be able to stay in tech. And it's so frustrating because I know that I've got, as they say, a lot left in the tank. I know my value. I know what I can contribute. I know I can help out a lot of software companies. And by the way, if you happen to work in tech and you know of any openings in sales or pre-sales or even product marketing, hit me up in the comments.
It's a perfect example of the tech layoffs. The things that have been happening in Silicon Valley, it's only going to get worse. Every recession, every slowdown, tech is the first to cut jobs, and then automation is catching up. In the future, the mid-grade engineer will be replaced by AI. And in the very future, 10 years from now, AI is going to probably take the place of an upper-level PhD coder. Think of a PhD at scale, every subject at one time, at scale, up, down, left, right. That's going to be AI. And it's going to replace so many jobs. You're going to be able to run a place called like Facebook with like 500 employees. Fact. As a person that's just hit 40, to relearn a new industry just seems so daunting. Like, I know I could do it, but the learning curve would be so high. I just don't know if I have it in me. That's why I'm sticking with what I know, real estate. And it's very frustrating to say, you know what, I've had 20 years in this, and all of a sudden stop and try to go back to school. I just can't do that. But for some people, it is a new thing to say, hey, I always wanted to be a teacher. I always wanted to get my master's degree. I always wanted to start that sewing business. You have to weigh the things, but it is very hard to start over. Trust me, I started over and did real estate 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And that was a big learning curve. I didn't realize how much of a learning curve real estate is, and getting dirty. And you got to get dirty.
So I'm recording this because I know I'm going to want to look back and use it as like a moment of triumph and like happiness. But right now I'm going through it. I just found out that I'm going to be laid off. And I wish I could be like bold and say something, but I didn't know what to say. I've a lot of layoffs have been occurring or happening at my agency, so I just didn't really think about it. Well, actually, no, I have, and I've been pressing my boss on it, and building anxiety for myself. And I've been carrying that with me, and it's just been shitty because I knew something was happening, and I didn't know how to listen to my gut, I guess. And no, that's a lie. I did know how to listen to my gut because I've been asking my boss, and my boss has been telling me no. So I feel a little gaslit. But, I'm really taken back by it. And I know that there's, it's redirection for me, but it's fine. I'm just really scared. I'm scared because lot more responsibility than I've ever had, and to jump into something new and unknown, or not know where I'm gonna go, especially right now with everything in this world happening, I think makes it even scarier. But I really hope that that I'm able to look at this in a couple months and be like, wow, that was the best thing that has ever happened to me.
To look like
Yep, you know, sad, depressing, not knowing what is going to be in the future. And it's so scary. Me and Samantha talk about it all the time. You know, what if she lost her job? Like, what's our plan? And creating a plan, creating a financial plan, creating an emergency plan. And if you have health problems, health insurance is huge. One of the main reasons why people work through retirement is because of health insurance. We are shackled to our job because of benefits, health insurance and dental. And that's tough. But that's all I got on this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below, because somebody may be learning from your comments in the comments down below. Somebody might be trying to figure out how to survive in the comments down below. See you guys on the next video.